Amigos de Ángulos, seguimos con los ecos del Campus Party y nos da mucho gusto dar la bienvenida a un integrante hasta hace un mes del equipo de la NASA. Está con nosotros Matt Reyes, que fue uno de los speakers estrella del Campus Party. ¿Cómo estás, Matt? Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. This is a lot of fun.
Thank you. And you are here in Guadalajara like a manhunter for the aerospace industry?
The industry here isn't so much, it's not, I wouldn't call it an industry, but what I do like to say is that we can start one here. And I think Campus Party, if we inspire the participants, the campuseros here, then we can build an aerospace industry here, either in Guadalajara or throughout Mexico.
And just in the, for example, like a cosmonaut or another industries?
I think that maybe there's another cosmonaut or astronaut here among the campuseros, but what I try to do is I try to help inspire the builders, the makers, the technology hackers to do something better, to maybe build satellites, to maybe look at opportunities for listening to the International Space Station on the ground, or analyzing data that the other satellite companies are starting to provide. And so if we set free the data and let campuseros and others work with it, something new will happen that we don't even know right now.
Most people think in here like, for example, hardware or software, but not think at the universe, right?
Yeah, no, that's true. People are very intimidated by space. It's expensive or it's high up, but or it's just hard to do. But at NASA, one thing that we were very fortunate to do was engage the public and show examples of where common people could build special things for outer space. I had a student and a small crew of people at NASA Ames Research Center, where I used to work in Silicon Valley in California, and they were insistent that they would build a 3D printer for the International Space Station, which is incredibly useful because now you can just email the part design to be printed on the space station instead of having to load it up in a rocket that might blow up.
And the gravity?
There were some special considerations for the gravity, but they figured it out and they got it to work. And NASA funded them to the tune of a couple $100,000, and then and it succeeded.
And I talked to you at least that the first cosmonaut Mexican, Rodolfo Nerivela, says yesterday that just 2 people for the cosmonaut are Latin. Why?
Yeah, no, this is an interesting problem. You know, in the United States, if you look at the heritage of the science community, it was predominantly Anglo that were supported to get into that. And if you look at the age of the astronauts, you see that they're older. Older astronauts fare better in microgravity. And so, yeah, the older population of people who had the education and the experience to become astronauts were mostly Anglo, but the future is going to have more and more Latinos and Hispanics go up into space.
And more young people, maybe?
More young people, but today's young people as they get older. Because young people, especially really young people who are still growing, you know, up into the 20s, you don't want to go into space.
No?
No. The radiation and the microgravity environment will hurt your bones and hurt your growth. And so you want to be older when you go into space so that you're not growing anymore in any way.
At this week, one of the principal news are 2 about the space. 1, we are on Pluto.
Yes.
We have a new frontier?
Yes.
Or what? Pluto and no more?
Oh, no. Here's the thing. So we took pictures of Pluto, and they're not what we expected. It's a complete surprise. And we expected to have like a rock okay, with craters and just like another rock. But no, this seems to have water. It's mostly ice. And where you find ice, you will find liquid water. And where you find liquid water, you might find life. And so life on Pluto is a question now that nobody ever imagined asking.
But in Mars, it's like a similar thing or not?
Well, Mars is bigger and apparently much drier, actually. So Mars has, for the size of Pluto, there's ice everywhere. For the size of Mars, it's not everywhere that we can see. It may be buried underground in caves. It may be at the poles, in the North and South Pole, but it's not as dynamic as Pluto is. Pluto is much more dynamic of a planet than Mars.
Yeah, and we are now in Pluto, but the NASA discovered other planet.
That's right.
That very similar at the Earth. This is the new home for the humanity?
Maybe a little far. It'll take a long time to get out that far, but...
How long?
What?
How long?
You know, I don't know for that, but it'll be several lifetimes, several generations worth. We don't have the technology to get there fast enough. But what is really interesting to note about that mission, that's called the Kepler mission, which was managed as well where I used to work, is that Kepler is only looking in these small patches of the sky. It's not looking there or there or there or there. It's only looking at small patches of the sky. And it found one. And it hasn't finished looking in that patch. So what happens when we start looking everywhere else? We're going to find more.
And why we don't have now signals of, for example, extraterrestrial life?
Sure. Right now, we don't have any signals that we have confirmed that are from life off the planet. But we've also not really been listening. There is a group that's called the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence, also known as SETI, and the SETI Institute has been listening at a narrow set of frequencies on the dial. So it's like you're in the car radio, and they've listened to one radio station to see, are there anything out there? This new announcement that has come out, it's called the Breakthrough Listen, and it's being headed up by my former boss, Pete Worden. And what they're going to do is scan the radio, and they're going to turn the dial all around to see if there's anything else on any other signals.
And maybe the humans are the first with, for example, space tourists that go to the universe. Or
okay.
What?
Well, you know, I've actually helped some of the original space tourists. We trained a lot of our space tourists. One in particular, Richard Garriott. I think he spoke at a campus party before too. But the space tourists are going to be staying close to home. They're only going to go to the space station and come back down. No more than that. Because when you go further out, you need to be seriously trained, professional, for many, many years. And that's not money. That's not tourist rich guy money. That's government money or collaboration money.
And just for maybe finish the interview, what do you think about the Mexican industry, and particularly about the Mexican Agency of Aerospace?
I think that there's a long way to go. You know, and NASA Ames Research Center is collaborating with Mexico on education programs and satellite development programs, and that's very exciting. But what I would love to see is if there was a Mexican on stage who was speaking about the stuff that I speak about, because then it's homegrown and it belongs to Mexico, and I think that's always more valuable.
And for finish, and why do you leave the NASA? So it's not a dream work?
Oh, NASA is a dream job. However, on LinkedIn, I got an email asking for an interview at GoPro, the camera company, and I couldn't pass that. That was a fun opportunity, and everybody knows how exciting GoPro is, and I manage all of the space projects and the custom solutions that will be coming out of GoPro in the near future.
So the GoPro is go to the space?
Well, a lot of people are asking, and I can help answer, and the Russians have done it. And if you look on YouTube, there are some amazing videos where the Russians and the NASA astronauts have put a GoPro in a water bubble, and they're floating around, and you're looking at the recording of the GoPro in the water bubble. And that has inspired a lot of people to wonder, what else can we do?
Well, Matthew, thank you for joining us in the program and for your speak and inspiration for the Mexicans, for the use the dream come true in the space industry.
It has been my pleasure. It's been a lot of fun. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Matthew. Y bueno, pues así terminamos esta entrevista en Ángulos y continuamos aquí en el programa. No se vayan, ya regresamos.